The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone. Let's talk about the issue that won't go away, Obama's birth certificate. It's back. At this point, it's pretty much safe to say that the PDF of the document is a forgery. Now, what you hear about this issue really depends on what news sources you consult. For example, The Independent, which says Phoenix sheriff insists President Obama's birth certificate is fake after 5-year investigation. I guess it's clear from the title alone that the goal of their news article is to debunk the claims. Anyway, they go over a bit of the basics, but they don't really get into it that much. And they do say the shifting but consistently racist debate around the first black president's birth has evolved from disputing the fact that he was born in Hawaii to disputing the authenticity of his birth certificate. Okay, make it about race, why don't you? Now, if you go to WND, their headline is Evidence Obama Birth Certificate Fake Heading to Congress. Oddly enough, fake is in quotes, but you do notice they say it's heading to Congress, which kind of gives you the impression that this is solid and it's about to become a really big issue. Maybe Obama's going to have to go to jail or something. Okay, look, I investigated this and I wanted to know whether there's anything to it. One of the first questions that I asked was, who is investigating this? Well, you have Sheriff Joe Arpaio of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, who has been trying to figure out whether this PDF is a forgery or not. So what he did was he led an investigation that's been going on now for 5 years, and he has come now to the conclusion that there's irrefutable proof that the document is fake. Who did he hire? One of them is a guy called Mike Zillow. Well, Mike Zillow has been on the news presenting the findings of the investigation, which you can see here in this video, show that there are a number of aspects of the birth certificate that really point to it being a forgery, as in that information was taken from another birth certificate which was used as a source document and then transferred onto what's supposed to be Obama's birth certificate. The source document was the birth certificate of someone called Johanna Ani, and if you watch the video, it really makes a compelling case for it. It looks like sections of Johanna Ani's birth certificate were taken together and transferred with the exact same placement and angles and everything. So who is Mike Zillow? Well, depending on who you ask, he's either the lead investigator and posse commander, or he's, a civilian who volunteers for the police department and sells cars the rest of the time. If you go to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office website, you can see that the posse is indeed made up of civilians. Mike Zillow is not a police officer or an expert. He's just some guy who sells cars and investigates birth certificates. Actually, Mark Zillow hired Reed Hayes, who is a real document expert. You can read Reed Hayes' qualifications right here on his website. A certified court-qualified handwriting and document examiner with approximately 26 years experience in forensic handwriting work. He received certification from the National Association of Document Examiners. Mr. Hayes has testified 29 times in various courts in the state of Hawaii and in Superior Court in Guam. So the guy has qualifications and could be what you would call an expert witness. Now here's something I find very interesting. On his website, addressing the issue of Obama's birth certificate, Mr. Hayes says that in his opinion, there is no doubt that the PDF is a forgery. It's a fake. However, that doesn't prove that Obama is not an American. All it proves is that that particular PDF is not authentic. He says that unless he could see the paper document that's supposed to be Obama's birth certificate, he couldn't say whether the original birth certificate is a forgery or not. Reed Hayes is an expert. He concludes that it's not real. On top of that, there's another guy called Douglas Vogt who is like a printing expert, document expert, and he had written a 22-page report and submitted it to the FBI some years ago, saying that he also thought this document, the PDF, was a forgery. On top of that, the Italian firm Forlab concluded the same. So the question would be then, why do they have this fake document up? Obviously, there can only be two possibilities. A would be that he doesn't have an authentic Hawaiian birth certificate. He really wasn't born in Hawaii. And that's why they had to make up a fake one. The other possibility, B, would be that he does have an authentic one, but they put this one up in order to possibly be able to use it later to blackmail him or possibly to impeach him. It is possible that this was put up there for future use. Like, Obama, now get this straight. I know you're the president, but you're still our puppet. And if you don't do what we say, well, we can use this against you. I would consider a third possibility, which is that this is a really fake looking document. Once you get into it, it's pretty easy to see how someone could conclude that it's a forgery. And I would consider it's possible that it was put on the White House website on purpose so that people would start arguing about this and that they could then, call them birthers and conspiracy theorists and try to make them look bad because they know all along that Obama really was born in Hawaii and they'll have some birth certificate to prove that. The document is so fake looking, you would think that if somebody was trying to fake a birth certificate for someone who was going to run for president, and this was going to be so important, don't you think that they would have just taken a little extra measures to make it look more authentic? It almost seems like they did it on purpose. I mean, how could they do such a sloppy job? Well, maybe they just put it up as like a kind of psyop to screw up the truthers, the truth seekers. In any case, at this point, it's pretty obvious that the birth certificate is fake. Well, if WND is right, this will go before Congress and maybe something will come out of that. Because so far from what I've heard, Obama's birth certificate issue has been taken to court 49 times and has been thrown out every single time. A few years ago, this was supposedly pulled up from the British National Archives. And it was purportedly Obama's African birth certificate. As soon as I saw this, I thought it was the real deal. I mean, clearly that is Obama's foot. However, it came out later that this was probably a forgery based on an Australian birth certificate. There were a number of other documents relating to Obama's father, which came out of the British National Archives. And then the whole thing was sealed up. Like the Clintons, Hillary Clinton, arranged to have it sealed. So no one could pull any more documents about Obama out of those archives. What were they trying to hide? There was another thing. In 2012, when Obama was running for re-election, there was a court case in New Jersey. The guy who came to the court said Obama shouldn't be eligible to run because he's not an American because the birth certificate is fake. And Obama's lawyer said, regardless of whether this birth certificate is fake, that has nothing to do with the issue of whether he can run because you're allowed to run for president without being eligible to hold office. It's true that that's how the law works. When you have a court case, you have just the one court case about that issue. So she did have a point, but it was a little weird, Nobody was disputing that the birth certificate was fake, but the point was that that shouldn't stop him from running for office. Anyway, it's very strange. We'll probably never know where Obama was really born, but at this point it's pretty clear the birth certificate PDF is a fake. Well, let me know what you think. Thanks for giving me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.